I'm fine. Happy Easter in advance.
I wish you same.
Did you cut your hair?
You said what?
I mean, did you cut? Did you cut your hair?
No, no, no. I made it. It's made.
Okay. Like weaving.
We have electricity issues over here, so we are conserving battery.
Okay. Yeah, we'll wait. We'll wait for 7 more minutes and then we'll
Seven.
go on.
Okay. I'll join again in
Yes, it's
7 minutes
10:03.
then to save my
I have
battery.
limited. No, no problem. Good. Okay.
Okay.
Victor.
Good morning, sir.
Yeah, Victor, how are you?
I'm great, sir.
Oladejo Oluwaseun. Victor, how many names do you have, by the way? I have seen countless names. Their email, their WhatsApp. I have seen countless names.
The thing is
One,
that
one constant, I think, is Oladejo. So that is why I always prefer Oladejo.
the thing is, anytime I try to put a new mail, I try to use one of my names. So the surname Oladejo is still constant, but other names for the mail. So if I want to connect to any live meeting, I can just choose any of the mails that Google suggests.
Yeah. How are you?
I'm good. I'm good.
Okay. Becky had joined us, but she says she has low battery. So I told her to maybe rejoin in 5 minutes because I'll usually give 10 minutes, 10:05 now. I know it's 11:05
Okay.
Nigerian time. So I'll give 5 more minutes and then we will proceed because I also have something. I have an appointment. I actually forgot I have an appointment. I was hoping we'll do 2 hours today or say 1.5 hours, but I also have an appointment. But we'll see how far. We'll see
Okay.
how far we'll go. Hello, Collins.
Hello, good morning.
Yeah, Collins, how are you?
I'm fine.
Collins, if I may ask, how do you pronounce your surname?
Undelico.
I think I've asked this
Yeah,
before. You're from
Undelico.
Delta?
Yeah?
Are you from Delta State?
No, I'm from Obudu in Cross River State. Obudu local government.
Obodo,
Mm,
in Cross River State. Okay.
yes, sir.
Is it near Ebonyi State?
No, not really. No, it's
It's
not
near
really, no.
Akwa Ibom.
Yeah, to be honest, I'm not so familiar with the geography in terms of like what state is closest to in terms of what external states is
Okay.
closest to.
I
But
assume you're in I assume you're in Lagos. Sorry to interject.
me.
Mm.
No, right now I'm in Calabar. I'm in Calabar right now.
Okay, okay.
Mm.
You're home now. You're in your state.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm in my
You don't
state.
go. You don't go to the village that much.
I knew that's the next question. I knew that's the next question you asked. Yeah.
You don't,
I really, to be honest, it's actually more of my mother's side. I visit more. It's my mother's side. I'm actually more close to, and she's from Boki. in Cross River here. She's from Buki, or was from Buki.
Okay.
So that's where we visit more. Even Ogoja, because she grew up in Ogoja. So that's where we even visit more than even Buki or Ogudu.
Okay,
So, but, yeah.
my former manager is from Ogoja, my late manager. I was in Ogoja when he died. When did
Oh,
this
that's sad.
I think 2007, 07, 08. I came for his
That's
burial.
sad. It's sad. Yeah, no,
Those
Ogoja
places
is,
are a little far from Anambra, but I know there are new roads now that the Ebony
yeah,
man, what's his name?
yeah,
Umahi. I know there are new
yeah.
roads that Umahi did, so it shouldn't be more than 3 hours from Anambra now.
Especially to Ogoja. Yeah,
Yeah,
especially to Ogoja now.
I heard. Yeah. Okay, welcome. Let's give it a few more minutes and see who else will join us.
Okay,
And
sure.
then we can proceed. Thank you. How are you, Peace? Peace, how are you? Well, Peace, you can wave if you can hear me. Just to know you're connected. You can wave. Okay. It's 10:10. I'll give a final ring to the WhatsApp group now, and then we'll commence. Okay. Peace, can you hear me?
I can hear you, sir.
Okay.
Good morning, sir.
Okay, yeah. Okay, thank you for joining us. Becky was here earlier, so she said she's trying to conserve her, but okay, Becky has rejoined us again. Okay, guys, please, let's just start. You can mute your mic. The rules are simple. Just switch on your camera and mute your mic. Unless you guys want me to go blank. We should be seeing each other's faces now. Switch on your camera, please. Switch on your camera and then mute your mic. Let's proceed. So, thank you. Welcome to this our peer review. Like I said the last time, I wrote it that I enjoy our meetings more now because we seem to have now finally gotten the magic number. I mean, what we prefer to call the minimum viable audience, people who are willing to show up each time as much as possible. If there are 1, 2, 3 people that will show up with interest for what you're doing collectively, that becomes your minimum viable audience. Consistently, you keep doing what you're doing. It doesn't matter if you have 1 or 2 people, but you know that these people have interest in progressing in the course, the journey you are undertaking. So this is why I now enjoy this, and it's really a boost to my confidence, because sometimes I do get discouraged. Like when I keep asking people to share what your work, do this, do that, and at the end of the day, you still don't see the results. When we keep talking about improving our writing, using editing apps, and you get drafts to publish that have red marks written all over it, it's so discouraging. But now we seem to be heading in the right direction. Not just turning up with interest. I know some of you might say, yeah, well, because there's a prize money to be won, but I've come of age and I've studied a lot. In my last course, I did a module called Communities of Practice, and that is what we are doing now. And I know that starting a communal journey can be difficult, especially in writing. At first, it can appear ephemeral, it can appear superficial, because everybody wants to write. You want to be part of that elite writers, But if you give it time, like we have given it time now, with consistency, we've been on this journey for at least the upward of 3 years. Started this in 2020 with weekly competitions. So with time and consistency, you will find out that you will achieve more. You would have gained some depth. And, it is analogous to going to the gym, running, jogging, working out, trying to be fit, People start with wanting to look good. They want to have flat tummy. They want to have toned muscles. You want to look deeper in your favorite outfits. But good, that is all good and fine. With time, you realize that fitness and the therapy that comes with going to the gym, with working out, they are even more important than looking good. So in addition to looking good, you will get fitness and therapy. This is an invaluable combo. It is very, very important to not just look good, be fit, and gain the therapy of going to the gym and looking fit. So what we are doing here is similar. Some of us may have, like one boy I chalked up. He told me, he wrote and told me that, look, that I've done everything for him. That he started with eyes on the money, and he never improved. He kept on, so he was caught with plagiarism a couple of times. And I wrote to him, I told him, look, you started following me when I was doing the Sunday puzzle and giving out 2,000. I found out that all those people coming for they are all giveaway auctions and nothing deep. So I stopped it. But I encouraged you to start writing with us, and you started. I thought you were improving, but you were just copying and plagiarizing people's work. Called you the first time, and no, I have to check you. And he wrote and apologized. So sometimes you start with aiming to win the money, and before you know it, you just give it some time. You will find out that you gain skills, invaluable skills, and also gain a versatile network of friends, creatives. That is why I'm trying to make our sessions a bit more personal. So before we proceed, I just want to talk about 2 things. First of all, editing and errors, briefly. Mistakes are inevitable. We are not English people. And 2, we are humans. Typo errors, these are things that even the English people themselves, they make mistakes, but there are some simple elementary errors like spelling and tenses that shouldn't be seen in, at least in our final draft. That is why free editing apps, I always talk about Grammarly and all this, they will just underline everything in red and you will re-edit and do the right thing. So what excuse do we have? None. And then two, I mean, some of you don't seem to understand what we are doing here. I know we are trying to improve our writing, but like I've written, whatever you do, the hard work you put in into writing will amount to nothing if nobody reads what you're writing. If you're not able to build a platform, if you're not able to build an audience, and I've seen this work several times. So on building an audience, let me just say, let me try and remember what I said in one tweet. I said in that tweet that hold on, I think I can find that tweet because I saved it here for this particular session. Okay. So I said that the creator economy has no room for shy people. Your appearance and apprehension are secondary to the quality of your content. And this is true. The shy people are always in the back seat. It's why I always urge for participation. I don't want to make this a session where I just come and talk. I want people to be involved. If we are doing peer review, everyone should have a contribution to make. So please just show up online. That is where everyone lives now. You live there, I live there, every other person lives there. You have to post, share, and engage, discuss. You need to make your presence felt, especially on social media. I mean, initially you may feel shy or you feel embarrassed, maybe, but there is nobody that is up there now as an author, as a creator, that didn't feel embarrassed at one point or the other. We know these things. You can't build an audience without doing these things. I mean, what are you doing if you're not online? What are you doing if you're not on social media? Making your presence felt, discussing the things that are of interest to you. I've been on Facebook discussing politics, and I discovered it's a failure. But I gained some experience. I discovered it was a waste of time for me. And then I started being more productive because I know how to write. I studied masters. I paid hard pounds to read political communication, and it's all about writing. Doesn't matter what, it's all about writing. So, I mean, why would I be there wasting words, arguing for weeks and months on end and nothing? So I decided to switch. So please, some of you should wake up, share the work you spent weeks, days creating. Ignore the prize as much as you can. And I know it's difficult, and things are hard, yeah, but you can focus more on getting better, acquiring the digital skills, the knowledge that we are here to acquire. If you put in the work, you promote your work, promote the creativity. It's not easy to write a page, 500 words. It's not easy. I know 100,000 is a lot, but it's also very little because the value of money is relative. What is much for this person is little to another person, but knowledge is not. We know that. Knowledge is not. You can lose money in a flash, but knowledge is gained, and when you gain it, it is there forever. That is why they say no knowledge gained is lost, because it is trapped here. All you need to just refresh. And guys, remember how we started? We said we're all winners, and the fact that we're here to learn and to keep improving is the major aim. But let me pause my philosophical monologue and see if we can dive into the business of the day, because as always, we do not have much time. And we know the rules. It's simple. You leave your camera on and mute your mic. Then we'll go through the feedback. This time around, because we have many, we have 9 stories, and we'll try as much as possible. If you read all, I doubt we will have the time for each and everyone to give us a feedback on all the stories. But your favorites, your thoughts, and then I will say a minimum of 3 minutes and maximum of 5 minutes, so that we can it can go around in the little time we have. But if you want to chat, send something via chat box, or if you want to speak, you raise your hand and we'll pass the mic on accordingly. So please, let's go on to the business of the day. Becky, you were the first person here, and I'll present just the agenda now. Hold on one sec. I'll just shift and present the agenda. Then.
Okay, good morning, everyone.
Yeah.
Okay, so it's been a busy week. So many things. We thank God for everything. I was able to read almost all the stories, almost everything. I think I missed out Victor and Udelinkwa story. Those are the only two I missed out. But I was able to read the others because I was reading according to the way you posted it. You said you've posted stories. So I was picking them one after the other. So what was left was Victor and Udelinkwa story because I started reading yesterday. I've been busy through the week. So I'm going to start with the review and then I'll make my nominations. So for Peace Abila story,
One sec. Sorry for interjecting, Becky. Huh? Can you hear me? Hello? Can you guys hear me?
I can hear you.
Can you guys hear me? Okay. Yeah, Becky. For you to nominate, you understand me? You must have read all the stories. That is to give a fair chance to everybody. So what you can do now is you give us your feedback, go back and read the remaining 2 stories and send in your nomination via email. Everything will still be
okay, that's fine then. That's very
for
fine.
you to nominate and give a fair chance to every story.
Yes,
You must have read all.
that's better.
You understand me?
Yes, that's true.
So you can give us your feedback on the ones you have feedback on. Then please, as much as you can, before the end of today, just finish the other
Yes, I
2
will. I'm
and
free
send in your
today.
nomination. Thank you.
Okay. So I'll start with Peace Abila story, Test and Taste. Okay. So I like her story. She wrote on resilience in keeping a love relationship, and then she built her storyline in a beautiful way. She used unique expressions, and then as usual, she was very creative too. But in fact, I enjoyed the way she outlined the story. It's the plot was outlined in a way that you want to follow up and know what happened in the end. Starting with the man wanted a girl was not part of the his culture, and then I was looking forward to what decision was going to make at the end of the story, and I love the way it ended beautifully. That although we don't even know what happened at the end, whether he actually made the decision to go for the lady, but I'm sure he would anyway after the pain he must have endured for her. So I like the way the story was plotted. Then the other attachments made to it, I think I've read one of them before. And the other one, the strange things I see. I love those attachments made to it too. Then I just thought the pictures attached to the story could have been edited to be better because that story was one that showed a culture that is not so common. Although we've heard these stories, but having a picture and it's a picture that still relates a bit more to that story would help our imaginations better to know what the main character in question had to go through, even if it's just a picture of the woman in a traditional attire in that culture, or maybe the man, a picture of a drawing or a picture of a man undergoing that torture they had to face in order for them to get married in that tribe. It would have been nice. And then I also noticed that the dialogue was not, I didn't count them. I didn't count, but dialogue was not as much as, was not so much as such. But aside these things, the story was a beautiful one. Then moving on to Solomon Ekoja's emotional intelligence among Nigerians and a growing culture of abuses. Like he said, his story is right up or straightforward. There was no need to guess what he was trying to say. He went straight to the point. He defined his terms. Then the dialogue he used, he introduced it first with a paragraph. If I were to suggest, I would say he would have rather just gone straight to the dialogue and engage the dialogue. Then from the dialogue, we can guess what he's about to say before he can start making the introduction. Okay, this is what I want to say. But each person with his own style. Maybe that's just his style. And then um, I didn't really find the dialogues catchy enough, for me, because I actually had to go back to the topic to see perhaps that it was a requirement, and I saw critically analyze the government's decision. So is analyzing, is trying to tell us, okay, this side and this side, try not to be biased. But I didn't really feel the dialogue, and I still think, even though he likes to make his features, direct, straight to the point, they can still tweak it to he can still make it catchy for audience to be able to want to read it. Sometimes someone like me, I don't like straightforward topics. I don't like just the way it is. I need something to attract me because there are so many things to read. So you want your audience to see something to say, oh, I need to read this thing. I think this thing has to, it has to attract me. So that's just that for Solomon Nikoja. Then I read Oluwaseun Jema's Keeper. Jemima wrote a very beautiful story. I love the storyline. In fact, I wasn't expecting the flashback she used. When I started reading the dialogue, I felt it was quite romantic, having someone who you were not even expecting to come out to be the one that actually has been in love with you for a long time. So I think that storyline was beautiful. And then the flashback that led to the beginning of the story was also good because it's correlated. I liked it. But the challenge I had with Oluwaseun's work was the paragraphs. It was difficult trying to know who is speaking at one point in time. And at some points, they were misused punctuations. Like she had to use question marks where she was supposed to use maybe ellipses, where she was supposed to use maybe a full stop. The punctuations were misleading too. And then she has so many dialogues. I know we were told to write on dialogues, but there were just so many to for one to be able to follow the story. But I was still able to understand the story, and I think that story was a very beautiful, romantic one. Then Chukwuemeka Lucas, where is it again? Sorry, I'm trying to remember the topic, trying to find the topic because I jotted them down. Okay, yes, enough is enough. Chukwuemeka wrote on
Your,
health workers, the Nigerian's decision.
your five your 5 minutes is up. Wrap it up. 1 more minute.
You said what? Oh, good
1 more minute.
topic, catchy topic, and then great research was done on that job. He did a great research on the job, and as usual, he's always a good writer with what he does with opinions. I enjoyed the way he outlined that story. He outlined he started with the dialogue and then moved on to the challenges that health workers face in Nigeria, and then he went on to profess solutions. That was a beautiful one. I'll stop here then. Thank you.
Okay, great. Thank you so much, Becky. It's just because of time. I know everybody will want to give full feedback on bets. I actually forgot I had an appointment today, and I thought we could exhaust 2-3 hours today because I mean we're on holidays already. But I'm so sorry. So we'll have to limit it to 5, maximum 6 minutes, so that we can all meet up with our other engagements. So, Victor, if you're still online, I think you are the next person to join us. Victor. Victor was here. Okay, Collins. So, like, if you have read all the stories, please, you mustn't, for the sake of time, but if you can, you understand me, you mustn't review all the stories here. But to be fair, before you nominate, you must have read all the stories. You understand me? So,
Okay.
Collins, you have the mic. Minimum
Okay.
3 minutes and maximum 5 minutes. Okay, just try.
Okay.
Thank
So, hello everybody. Good morning. The thing is, I would actually also prefer sending my nominations via email. However, I have my own nominations. I read every story, but there were some stories I read more intensely than others, and here's why. Because I looked at certain criteria. Because I know a lot of the stories were really good, but when I came down to nomination, I was like, okay, does this story first of all meet certain criteria in the prompts? Did they put the pictures as was instructed? Um, and did they, and to what degree can we say, okay, with confidence that this picture was certainly was certainly edited by this particular writer? So that's how I weighed it. And when in my mind, after that criteria, when some stories didn't meet the cut, I now delved down to other stories and I read those other stories more intently, and then I came up with my final nomination. But again, just for justice sake, I'll look through those other stories again, so that I can have a final, more clear nomination. So just for the stories I read very intently, I think the stories I'm yet to read as I should probably read is Victor's story. The other story about Avatar, I think Emmanuel Enaku wrote that. Maybe let me check. Okay, no, that is the Wrath of
Ebube.
Sado. Yes, Ebube wrote the Avatar story. So the ones I read all the other ones, like from top to bottom. Just those two. And the reason why I didn't finish those two, I think in Ebube's story, I didn't see any pictures, so I think that's why I didn't finish it. Yes. Then I think in Victor's story, I wasn't 100% convinced about if I could say confidently that those pictures were edited by him as well. The same thing with Wrath of Shadow, but I'll go through those stories again. So the other stories I have read, the first one, let's start from Test and Taste. Oh, so I in fact, let me just start from the one I thought, even if I'm giving, because I thought one stood out for me, because it will probably be have to me coming down to the second nomination. Even if I'm going to read again, I think this one really stood out for me, and that is Becky's story, Second Hand Wife. So yes, I liked the opening dialogue. I thought it drew me in, because even a few sentences in, and I'm already very angry with the mother-in-law woman who's asking so many questions. I thought I liked the dialogue. I liked the storyline itself, the idea of the story. It was a simple one and it was executed well. However, the only thing I would point out is first of all that the how will I explain this? I know it's limiting sometimes when there's a word limit or when there's a word count that you have to follow. But I think that was what constricted the flashback scene, because I felt like that scene was, even though that scene was narrated well, I felt like maybe if there was more words, if the word limit wasn't in stock to 2000, maybe it would have been fleshed out. That story would have been fleshed out a little bit better. Because I support it didn't I didn't see how it particularly related to the rest of the story. I mean, I got it completely, but I felt like maybe because the word limit was so restrictive, we didn't fully get to appreciate the importance of that story. That is the lady's mother's story to her own present day story as well. So, but it was good. It was executed well. It was executed well. Then the second thing I did have a point I think I have to point out is the pictures. I found the one with the child quite funny, and I like that one. Although the one edited in the beginning, I'm not so sure how to rank that. But overall, the story Second Hand Wife was top for me. So I think the second one that I was in top consideration for me was this keeper. So first of all, with the pictures, I initially I thought the picture, but I didn't read the prompt well, so I thought, oh, the pictures must be taken. I didn't see created. So when I read it again and I saw created, and I was like, oh, this is good, because clearly Jemima Oluwaseun Jemima edited those pictures. It's very clear. You cannot say it's irrevocably clear that she edited those pictures to reflect her story title by herself, and I thought that was wonderful. I do agree with Becky that there were some points in the dialogue where it was difficult to follow. However, I think the idea of the story and the language was really good. So test and taste. Yeah, Becky has already spoken a lot about it. I think that this one was already started well as well with the dialogue. It went really well. It was an intriguing story. Again, I do think stories like this, maybe after some time we revisit them and expand on them, like where we don't have a word limits. I think that would be really good, because I also feel the story was a bit restricted, maybe because of the word limits, because there were some scenes that felt very rushed, but I would pull that down maybe to the word limits. Then I have to mention this before I run out of time. The one about emotional intelligence. Yes, I actually, I don't know if it's, maybe it's because I don't have access to LinkedIn, but when I read it through my web browser, as in I didn't sign up, but I read it through my web browser, I didn't see any pictures. However, this was very intriguing. I found the dialogue funny, and I do think this was a unique form of dialogue. I think the way we understand dialogue most times is, you have to put this in a quotation mark, etc., etc. But I do appreciate the use of this unique form of dialogue, and I think it was even much more particular it was even much more unique in an opinion piece. I think it would even fit in perfectly. So I liked the work. I liked the message it was trying to pass. However, because it didn't really have pictures like was in the prompt, I wasn't so particular about like nominating it. So I think, which other one again? No, I think that should be it. That's all I was able to read intently. I will read the other ones though. However, because um I will still have to fall back to these other ones, because I felt like some didn't satisfy the prompt as they should have. But I'll read the other stories, then send a nomination via email.
All right. Thank you so much for that detailed review and feedback, Collins. Okay, let me just one point. I did have this time around, because we are learning. It's it's a communal journey. This time around, I did have one or two back and forth with some of the writers, and if not for that, maybe we would have come up with, like, we did 3 or 4 like we did last time. Okay, now you mentioned about pictures. You mentioned about some stories not having pictures. Okay, 1 or 2 of the writers sent me mails and then tried for further explanation. We agreed that, look, at least 2 related images or audio stroke video clips created to you and also properly aligned in different paragraphs. Do you understand me? Now, like for audio and video clips, those of them who couldn't, I know it's more difficult to embed audio and video clips. You can always embed, like in Medium, you can always embed images. It will show you the prompt there, and then you just click and insert your image, just like in any other publishing document, Word, Google Doc, or any of them. But it's a bit more difficult if you have to embed an audio clip or video clip, So I did ask them to use hyperlink. That is why some of them you did not find embedded images or embedded audio or video clips. So I just want to make that point. You understand me? It's not as if I felt bad in myself. If I'm going to disqualify, I mean, we'll still have 2 or 3 bets. I just want to put that, make that clear. You understand me? I know that going forward, we'll be stricter, of course, because we are learning. We should make progress. We should improve. So thank you for your I await your email with your nominations. Whatever you nominate, whoever you nominate, please, Becky Collins, in the write-up that will announce your nominations will be public. We are doing, there's nothing underhand we are doing here. We are doing everything with full disclosure. So, Victor, if you're here with us, if you're back with us, just raise your hand or send a chat, something, so that we'll know. An echo effect on my mic. Guys, can you hear me well, please? I think it's
you're audible.
Okay, no,
Yes,
Chukwemeka sent the message. Okay, no, Chukwemeka sent. Okay. Peace. I think you are the next person to join us. So, Peace, if you have the mic. If you are still online, Peace.
Hello, sir.
Yeah, thank you.
Can you hear me?
Good, yeah.
Hello? I'm on transit. Please, can I send my... The network is not too good.
Yeah, but you can give us your review. Then you send your nomination. Did you read the stories?
Yes, I did, sir.
Are you driving?
Not driving. The network, it goes off and on.
Okay. Send in your review and nominations. Victor, yeah, Victor, you can speak now. If you're back.
Okay, can you guys hear me?
Of course, yeah.
Okay, so good day, everyone. And I must say, I'm glad that we had another competition again, and this time we followed a different strategy that it went beyond just writing. We had to chip in pictures, stuff like that. At least it was a different approach to the previous ones we've been doing. So I went through the entries and I will try to brush through everything, then I will nominate. So firstly, I will go with Peace.
You're inaudible now.
Can you guys hear me now?
Better now.
Okay, so I said I'll try to brush through all the entries, then I'm going to nominate at least as far as I can go before my time runs out. So I'll start with Becky's with Peace entry, that one comedy. I think she did it very well. The fact that test and taste, right? The fact that it was about love, about marriage, and about a kind of not too strange culture, because that culture, I think I've seen it in Fulani people where they beat the husband, just like that. I've seen that one before. I think in Simpra Inquisi's story, somewhere like Burning Grass, I've seen that once. So, but the from the beginning, the guy was, he was trying to claim his ground that he's going to marry this girl, stuff like that, that culture and stuff shouldn't be a barrier between him and his love. Then the parents finally bent to his will, and at the end, he still collects because what later happened to him was very, very funny. So I think Becky did that well. Then for because the titles, the way I mixed up titles, yeah, but I will just speak on Becky's story straight away. So I think I love Becky's story because of the surprise that came with it at the end. I think from the beginning, arguing with the mother-in-law, okay, on everything. Then at the end, we were able to discover who that lady is to the guy and what the kind of part or the kind of role the lady had played once in the life of the guy at the end of the story. So I think I enjoyed that. Then for Mazi's story, I think Mazi's story was filled with lots of research because he did focus, then he checked his picture. I think he was trying to do the so I think, can you guys hear me?
You have gone inaudible again.
Okay, can you guys hear me now?
Yes.
Okay, so I think Mazi did a lot of research, especially if you go by the embedded interviews, that phone call that he added then for the pictures, the two pictures, because they said maximum. I think you have to have just two pictures related to the to your work. And I think the pictures like they reflected everything he was writing about. The first picture was about a brain and a tap, so we know that's brain drain. Then the last picture was about the Jackpot influence, whereby brain was kind of leaving the country. So I think I got that. Then the Rat of Shadow by Emmanuel Inako. I love to write thrillers too. Like thriller is what I do too. I love it so much. So I think Inako did it well because it was kind of giving this Russian mafia vibe, especially the language in it. That's kind of Russian, if not Ukraine. So I think that was very, very great on his part. Then is I think he has to work more too on his description of action, because that thrillers now it relies most on pacing. Then you have to work more on the action because you have to see it. That's what thriller is all about. Then I'm coming. The next one, I think Keeper too. Keeper was a very, very great story too. The way Jemima wrote it, I think I love it so much. Then the first picture, like Collins noted, is very, very great. You could see it's like a book cover. So we could see the effort that she put into it, and the story was great too. I love the way she told it, and the embedded picture were reflective of everything she was trying to say in the story. Then for Collins, I think Collins is a very great writer because the way can you guys hear me?
Yep.
Because the way he presented his article, I think is very great from the dialogue. Although the dialogue was not too lit, but at least you could get what he was trying to say, and the way he connected it. Then his picture, he didn't use stock photos. He got those pictures by himself, and I think that's a great effort on the part of a writer who goes out of his field into another completely different area to enrich his work. So I think that one is great. Then what next? Avatar. So I can't say much on Avatar for now because the picture thing, I can't say much on it. I think I'll have to send me my entry to via email because, like I said, we didn't see picture in those stuff. So now that you gave us the reasons why we couldn't see stuff like that, I think it will be good to go back to them. Then what was left? Who's left? Who's left? Who's left? Collins. Okay, I've spoken on Collins. Then generally, I think for those who wrote fiction for Peace, I think Peace should expand that story. Like, just give us, we shouldn't hang at the end. I think that end is satisfying though, but I think she should expand on that story.
Sorry to interject. Emmanuel, did you read the Koja story? The Koja, Emotional Intelligence.
Sir?
Did you read Solomon Koja's story on emotional intelligence?
Emotional intelligence. Yeah, I think I did because I was just rushing through. I read most a day before, when yesterday I was just rushing through.
You have just reviewed almost every other story except that one.
Yeah, and I said I've not read through that Avatar story very because of the picture. So I think I'll do that and send it via the email today, unfailingly. So I was still on Becky. I think Becky's end, the end of that story, I think is still fine. It's still fine. So I don't think there's anything to be added to that story again. The story is perfect as it were. Then for the Shadow, I think when you're writing fiction and you're introducing a strange language as Russian and stuff like that, I think there should be a place where we could get the translation for that story. You understand? Although I get that in movies you get exclamations like that and we just flow along with it, but I think in fiction, for example, if Achebe writes something, even if it were a proverb, somewhere in between the next sentence is going to kind of show us some I think an hint on what he was trying to convey, but he was just repeating that phrase inside in that story. Then we just kind of try to guess, but I think maybe it's just that vibe, that mafia sorty. We trust that guy on action though. That's his feed.
You will finish our time. Emmanuel was saying, let me go back to that phrase. At the point, I started laughing. Emmanuel. I told him he's good in this. He should just develop a series, and with time, this is his fault. So please, let's wrap it up, Victor. Emmanuel, are you here?
Yes, I am.
Let's hear from you. Thank you.
Okay. Dope.
Hello?
Okay, sorry, I had to go look for somewhere quiet. Today
Good,
happens to be the Children's Cultural Day, and I've been very busy at work here in the school compound. Okay, so I read all the stories. One thing I noticed was that the rules were not obeyed completely, especially when it came to pictures. I saw some pretty good essays, but I did not find pictures on them. I believe that pictures were part of the criteria for the essays that we were supposed to submit. Also, I read that story, Emotional Intelligence. I think it was written by Solomon Ekoja. It's a pretty good essay, but there was no picture on it, unfortunately. So it was difficult linking what was written with some visual representation or anything like that. You understand? Okay, so I read Peace story. Peace, you did a great job. The story was nice. Just a few grammatical errors in between. I think it was about an omission or something like that, or a misspelling, something like that. And then Mrs. Becky's story, Second-Hand Wife. It was nice. The dialogue could have been made better, but I really like that story. And then Alala story was nice. So my three nominations will be Alala, Second-Hand Wife, and the other story written by Oluwaseun Osayinro. I think I've forgotten the name of the story, but it was I can't get it. It was about a friend who pretended. Yes, it was a very good story. I liked the dialogue and all. It was very nice. All other stories, all other entries were equally very impressive. The only thing is that many people did not follow the rules. Many people did not follow the rules completely. So that's just it. The stories were nice. Was it Test and Taste? Then Second-Hand Wife, and then the other one, Oluwaseun's story. Those three stories, they were very, very fantastic. I love them.
So your nominations,
thank you very much.
Let's get you right. Your nominations are 3 nominations, huh? Come again, Emmanuel.
Yes, 3 nominations.
Yeah, can you give us those nominations again? Let me not have it mixed up.
Test and Taste by Peace Hadila.
Yeah.
Second nomination is Alala by Victor Oladejo. Although this story was supposed to be a romantic love relationship, but it seemed like it was a love between mother and daughter. So I don't know if this particular rule satisfies. I don't know if this rule satisfies the requirements, because it was actually supposed to be a love relationship. So I don't know. It will be based on you and what you wanted, based on the topic, what you wanted. So first story is Peace Abila's story. Second story is Victor Oladejo's.
And the third one?
The third one is Oluwaseun Osanyiro's story.
Okay.
So that's it.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, so before I forget, everybody was mentioning about some of the stories being limited in development because of the word count. Yeah, this is a competition, so there'll be rules, but it doesn't stop us from going back to develop our stories. You can develop your story into 5,000 words and make it a short fiction. You can even write a whole novel from your story. But if you have a competition that requires 3,000 words maximum. I mean, what you can do is find, that is also part of the creative work. Find those aspects of your stories where you feel can have much impact, where you feel you can evoke the feelings of the reader, and then try as much as you can to develop that part. Even in the brevity craft, like I always say, someone like Peace loves brevity. There's a magazine, there's one man I follow, what's his name? Binti Moore. I think I've mentioned him in one of our sessions. I will also, in my post, I will also include a link. You can check out, they have what they call craft essays. You can go and study and read up how they do these craft essays, you know. So that you're limited by the word count doesn't mean you can still choose parts of your essays that will have the most impact and flesh out that, develop that part. I understand what Collins and Victor, said here. Some parts of, I felt like, yes, they were choked by the word count, and this person had to cut it short just not to exceed the word count. So, but it doesn't mean you can't go back to your story and rewrite it, expand it, or even, do a book with it. So we are right on time. It's 10:59. Okay, 11:59 over there. Please, let's not exceed today, tomorrow. We're on vacation. I don't want these things to spill over to next month. That's why it's good that we had this today. By today, tomorrow, so that I will write the post and we'll have a winner. And then we'll talk about the next thing we're supposed to do. We should talk about it now, but I really don't have time. I really don't have time. But on the WhatsApp group, we'll talk about the next activity. We'll say it's activity. That's the phrase I learned here. We'll talk about the next activity, which will also be for April. So thank you guys. Try as much as you can to send in this your nominations. And in your own case, please, your feedback. Mazi is here.
Sir.
Well, we have to give 10 more minutes. Give us your feedback and nomination, please. Let me call my repairer while you're doing that. Please, can someone take some notes? I need to reschedule the appointment I have. Go on, Mazi. You have the mic. I'll be listening to you.
Do I wrapped it up? Hello, sir.
Come again?
I thought you just wrapped the meeting up.
No. I didn't even realize you were here with us. How come I didn't see you? A man as big as you are. Go on.
Okay.
Okay. Good afternoon. Go on.
Okay. Good afternoon, sir. Good afternoon, my fellow writers. This episode has been very, very interesting. Interesting because we had submissions for all the prompts. I don't think there's any time we have such. So it was also interesting to read through all the entries. They were beautiful in their own right and in their own way. Each taking their different approaches, and in the end, all the stories, all the entries were so beautiful. And I was looking out for how the dialogue was, the dialogue and the setting of the story, the pacing, everything. And I'm also looking at the effort each writer put in place to, making out the final submission. So these are the things I'm looking at, and then one or two mechanical accuracies when it comes to the use of punctuation marks. I wish I could. Well, let me start with most writers that wrote on the fiction aspect of the prompt, where they were asked to show resilience in keeping love relationship. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. To show resilience in keeping love relationship, they did that very, very well. I think most people tilted towards that aspect of the prompt. Most writers wrote towards it. It was so beautiful to read through, and through the, especially through the dialogue. One dialogue amongst those group of writers that wrote on that particular prompt that drew me in very, very well was that of Sheung. Sheung's dialogue was so intense, you know. When I mean intense, her dialogue was intense, and it immediately drew me in such a way that I wanted to know how the story would pace, you know. But she wasn't really consistent with the pacing of the story. You know, the thing, when in physics, it took a downward curve. You know, I expected it to keep up with the energy. You know, you understand what I'm trying to say. So, but then it was still a beautiful story. However, almost all the people that wrote on that prompt forgot that it was a romantic comedy. It was a rom-com. You know, they didn't really, the rom-com aspect of that demand of the prompt didn't really cut through entirely through their stories. But on the balance of play, they really showed resilience in keeping a love relationship. But when it comes to infusing a romantic comedy into the demand of the prompt, it didn't really cut through the entirety of all the stories. Then when it comes to Solomon Ekoja, he wrote on emotional intelligence amongst Nigeria and a growing culture of online abuses. Yes, he kept to his style as usual. You know, when you're reading through his stories, his written works, you have no doubt that this is something from him. You know, but what I would like to say about him is that he should be careful about making bogus or blanket statements. The situation where he says that 60% of Nigerian population is ignorant about emotional intelligence. How? Is it your own finding? Is it your study? How did it come about such, you know, submission in quotes? Do you understand? So he should be, while I understand it is an opinion piece, but why he's making such statement, it appears to be blanket and bogus. He should be mindful of that. He understood the nuances of his topic, and he was able to clearly show the. But what I felt he didn't really do was he was not able to clearly show the connection around emotional intelligence and then online abuses, and how emotional intelligence can impact an online abuse. He didn't really, he didn't really do justice to that aspect. And that is where, as a reader, that is where I was expecting, to, how do I put it? That is where I was expecting him to really marshal out solutions to where these issues could be solved. Then when it comes to, I've talked about Sheung. Sheung did a beautiful story. Enako Emmanuel tried. Emmanuel tried. Maybe he forgot he was writing. He mixed the prompt up. He wrote basically more. He tilted towards writing a thriller than towards a romantic comedy. You know, you have to judge him on the trailer. It was so beautiful. That's just my. It was so beautiful, and I could see the growth and then the the improvement he's had in his writings. And then Collins wrote on equal distribution of wealth in Nigeria. Yes, that's a story I took my time to read. Why? Because looking at this writer, he is not the person that is. Normally, I think he's a creative writer. Yes, that is his forte. But him delving into waters unknown to write on an opinion piece, I felt he did a very good work. I felt his dialogue was emotionally grabbing, and that set the tone for the story. You understand? There, his position on the topic wasn't ambiguous at all. It was very, very clear. Do you understand? It was very, very clear, and I give him kudos for that. But where I wanted, where I really have an issue a bit is that the pictures he put in didn't really connect. Yes, didn't really connect to what he is saying. Yes, he took random pictures of maybe market scenes in Calabar metropolis. I needed him to have put up a picture that related, to the content of what he's writing about, and he was writing about equal distribution of wealth. You get, maybe if he has written about a picture of maybe a slum, and then maybe a picture that merged a slum and a metropolis, you know, trying to merge them with all kind of graphic wonders, that will paint a very good picture, and that will, you know, sync with what he's writing about. But I must give him kudos, because I love to see when writers step out of their comfort zone. You know, when writers step out of their comfort zone. Am I up? Is my time up?
No, go on. No, I just enjoyed the point you made. Go on.
Yes, I like to see when writers step beyond their comfort zone to try other genres of writing. Yes, most times when we talk, we tend to almost gravitate towards creative writing. You know, it grabs the appeal most times, but we don't tend to see the efforts, other genres of writing, you know, to savor the beauty in other genres of writing, like research, like feature, like opinion, you know. And when writers take up that bold challenge to, you know, delve into those territories, I tend to, you know, become happy with such writers. And that is just what this these exercises, this platform should help us do. People like Becky have also tried to step beyond their comfort zone to try other genres of writing. This is what this platform, this is what contests like this should teach us, beyond just the monetary, you know, rewards. Thank you very, very much.
Okay. Are you making nominations? You read all. Are you giving us your nominations now?
Nominations, okay.
Yeah.
How many nominations are we to make?
You can
I
make
don't know.
two
I'm
or
confused.
three.
I'm 2 or 3.
Only one.
Okay.
Only one will win. 2 or 3 doesn't mean it's first, second, and third. It's just you know, your nominations that could possibly win.
Okay. Let me nominate 1 now, and then go over again, and then send the remaining via mail.
Just kindly try and do that today.
Okay.
Good.
So going by the last thing I've said, I'm nominating equal distribution of wealth in Nigeria. Is this achievable, or is it a mirage? So the remaining one, I'll send it via mail. Let me just go through 1 or 2 things. Thank you
so
very much.
Yeah. You made sure you exhausted the 10 minutes in an hour. All right, guys. Thank you for your time and for all your contribution. Please, I hope I've not forgotten anybody here. Okay. So as much as you can, please just try and send in your feedback and nomination this evening. I mean, these are stories of 9-10 minutes. If you can spare 30 minutes of your time today, 20-30 minutes, you should be able to read the remaining ones and then send in your nomination tonight. So we'll see you again via WhatsApp. Thank you so much for all your contributions. Have a wonderful Easter, and God bless you all. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Bye.